Senator from Oklahoma and ranking member of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, Senator Tom
These are two of our favorite guys on Capitol Hill.
Senator Coburn, what do you want to hear from the president tonight?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
I want decisiveness. I want leadership. He doesn't need any additional authority, in my opinion, from Congress to do what he needs to do. You know, we're past the spilt milk stage. We kind of created this situation, and it's time for us to clean it up. And it's not going to be easy, but it will take our efforts coordinated with a lot of our allies to actually limit this threat.
Senator Manchin, are you in line with that, or do you want to hear more or something different from the president tonight?
Well, I want to hear about the plan he has laid out, what coalition he has built, who we're working with, who is committed to helping, who has the same fear as we do, to come to the conclusion that ISIS is a threat to America, to the Western world, and to most of the Arab world. So I would hope that he's able to bring all that together and explain to us tonight. Unlike Tom, I believe the president should come back to Congress. I believe if I was president, I'd want to go to Congress. If you have 60 to 70% of the people supporting this, don't you think you should have the stamp of approval from Congress? He's going to have to work with us sooner or later if he needs money. That's inevitable.
Hey, Joe, what are you hearing from your people in West Virginia? What are they telling you about ISIS?
Well,
what are they telling you about this crisis? What are they telling you about the president?
Well, he's at 25% and falling in West Virginia, so it's not the most popular place for him, you know, as far as political. The bottom line is the people in West Virginia, they want to see a resolve. This is a threat. ISIS is a threat. But they don't see the resolve of us going in with boots on the ground or giving him unlimited powers, executive powers, doing what he wants to do. I don't believe that's what they want. That's not what they expect from the president. It's not what they expect from me to support that type of movement. I'm not going to do it.
Tom Coburn, I'll ask the same question to you. What are you hearing from your constituents in Oklahoma?
Well, I think they're just generally disappointed in Washington in total, not just with the president. The lack of leadership, especially in the Senate, and the lack of leadership by the president on issues. I mean, can you imagine telling the world we don't have a strategy for something? Even if you don't say it. And we have created a vacuum. We have created the vacuum both by not leaving a residual force in Iraq. You wouldn't have the threat of ISIS right now that we have had we had a residual force left in Iraq. And the sacrifices that were made in Iraq are put at real risk because of the bumbling foreign policy of this administration.
Chuck Todd.
Hey, Senator Manchin and Coburn, both to you, a question that we were just banding about before you got on here. Who's what do we do when we're done getting rid of ISIS in Syria? Who's in charge of rebuilding Syria?
Well, I think it depends on how it plays out. You know, you still have a civil war in Syria, even if you take ISIS out of it, because you have the real patriots, the real Syrian patriots, that don't want to be dominated by a dictator. They're not radical Islamic fighters. They're real patriots that want freedom in their own country, and they've kind of been lost in the shuffle of all this. So I think ISIS is not only fighting in Syria, but they are the largest contingency right now, but they're not the true Syrians because the vast majority of them aren't Syrian.
But, hey, Chuck, also, the end game right now, I don't know if we have an end game. We didn't have an end game in Libya. We didn't have one in Iraq. We don't seem to have one in Afghanistan. But the bottom line is I don't think that we truly, as a majority of a Christian nation, can go into a Muslim world and dictate and direct how we're going to restructure them. They're going to have to structure themselves. And right now, I believe that we should support those who want to defend themselves, those who want to help themselves, but we can't identify who the friendlies are. When we have reports that the rebels in Syria, who we have some people who want to support them and arm them, when we have reports that they're the same people that sold one of our journalists who was beheaded, that should give everybody pause.
Okay, here's a question for both you guys again, and it has to do with, again, Chuck's raising the issue of the end game. First in Commerce, Oklahoma, and then we'll go to Wheeling, West Virginia. Are your people, are your constituents prepared for a 3 to 10 year stay in that area of the world for the United States?
Absolutely not. From the standpoint, we've been there for 12 plus years now, Mike, and I don't think that we've seen anything improve. If anything, it's deteriorated. So with that being said, unless those people in that part of the world want to defend and help themselves and fight and die for their own country and identity, who are we to say that we can't? Our simple mission should be, anybody that wants to do harm to America, is planning to do harm, that's training people to do harm to America or Americans, we're going to come and get you. We'll do whatever it takes to defend the country, and I think the Article 2 of the Constitution is what the president's relying on. But I don't think he can go it alone and make executive decisions without Congress saying, fine, we support that, we will appropriate money for that. The bottom line is that they've got to want to defend themselves. The Arab nation has to step up, fight for themselves, be willing to die for their freedoms, the same as Americans have done to develop this great country. We haven't seen that yet, and I'm not willing to commit more men and women and troops on the ground as Americans defending a way of life that they don't want us to be involved in.
All right, Senators Manchin and Coburn, thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from the president tonight on all of this. Coming up.